Hello. So the video that's about to play, I just watched and noticed that I am stuttering quite a bit and just I think I've messed up my words a few times. So I'm sorry for that. I really haven't been talking to anyone lately because of the quarantine. So I guess I got a little choked up about speaking on camera. So I hope you still enjoy the video. And I mean, I still made my points, and I just want to give you the raw whatever, how it was recorded, and just what I said, how it was. Hope you enjoy. Hello everyone, bonjour tout le monde. So I'm going to talk today about my experience after having done 5-MeO DMT, the Bufo alvarius, because when I did the video initially about my experience on it, um, it was literally the day I had done it, so I had no idea how that would change my perception the weeks and even months following. I would say I'm not sure if I kind of delved in. I didn't delve into the death aspect, I don't think so much in that video, but essentially given having gone to the light as I discussed was really profoundly changed the way I thought about living and life and death, so much so that the weeks following I felt like I almost had no attachment to living. I know that sounds like depression. That's not, it wasn't bad. It was just kind of like I felt, it wasn't that I didn't have an attachment to living, I guess, so much as it was that I did not fear death, like even in the slightest. And so I would have to kind of reason with myself. It was maybe like only 1 or 2 weeks after that it was really extreme, where I had seen something and like this girl's brother had died and she was sad about it. And then part of me was like, well, he's in a better place. But then I had to rationalize with myself and say, yes, but obviously he suffered and he died. And it's, dying is a bad thing. And tell myself, wait, dying is a bad thing, because it was almost like I felt like it wouldn't be the worst thing to die, I guess. And I know that's really weird. And thinking back, I was just really not scared of anything. Like I also thought about like what if I got hurt and died? Like I didn't fear it. So I'd say it was positive because I didn't have any fear whatsoever of literally anything here at the time. But then you kind of have to come back to reality, or this reality as we know it, and say, okay, yeah, but obviously I don't want to die. And obviously it's sad when someone dies, even if their death takes them to a better place. It's sad no matter what. And so I had to kind of bring myself back and say, yes, like here on earth, I don't want to die and I want to live a full life as does everyone else. But it was kind of cool, like my whole perception, because before that, I like most people lived in a lot of fear, and it was like all that fear had kind of dissipated, which was really cool. And now I'd say some of the fears come back. It's not like I'm living in fear the way I had before. I mean, not that I was someone that was like fearful of death, but we all live with fears, and I was able to let go of quite a few of those fears having done the 5-MeO DMT, but I do think that doing the ayahuasca had a huge part in that as well. And then also, so, sorry, I have a few notes. Kind of just, yeah, as I just brushed over, like our reality and like the bigger reality, I guess, like I feel like the world we're living in, like obviously this is real. Me being here is very much real, but it's also kind of not, I guess. It feels to me like um there is a greater reality beyond this, and all of this is just temporary. And so I guess all that kind of goes back to the death thing and just kind of seeing the bigger picture. So I just really feel like doing the 5-MeO DMT just helped me see the bigger picture of life, or of beyond life. And because I told you when I came back, I just kind of laughed at how like everything here feels so big and important, but it's really so small and insignificant. And that's been a really positive like thought process for me, because it makes you, like, no matter how terrible things are, and things can be pretty freaking terrible sometimes, I know that there's something beyond that, I guess, and that really has given me a lot of hope in my life. So, I would say it was a super, I mean, it's so intense and so profound that, like, I don't think you could smoke the 5-MeO DMT and not have some sort of change in your thought process. I didn't have hallucinations after or anything like that. I know, I think some people talk about like still going back into it afterwards and having like a lasting effect of that. The only thing I had was when I went to sleep for maybe a week or two after, is I would kind of like, it's not like I really saw it, but if I when I was in the dark and closed my eyes, I could kind of see the like the not patterns, well, kind of patterns and of the tunnel, or it's like a loop, I don't know. But I didn't really like, it's not like I was really seeing it. It was just kind of like there, I guess, just when I closed my eyes. And that was only a week or two after, and then it just like really went away. But I'd say like the coolest thing about having done that is you go into it so fast that it's like really hard to remember what actually happens when you're on it, because it's so fast. Whereas ayahuasca, it's like you have all this time to process and really feel everything and remember everything for the most part. But with this, I mentioned in the video that like I smoked it and fell into a loop and then like was in the light, I guess. But I didn't actually remember what happened at the beginning, and I didn't realize this at the time, but later on, I actually was maybe a month ago or something. So this is like a month and a half after having done it. I like had kind of a flashback, and not, I don't want to say a flashback because it wasn't like, yeah, it was a flashback, but it wasn't like scary. I wasn't like hallucinating or anything, but I just like had a moment where I had this memory of like having smoked it and then like being totally confronted with myself. So I remembered a few things. Having remembered that, I remembered quite a few things. So essentially, here's what happened. I smoked the DMT, and this is what happened from what I remember. Again, it happened so fast. I'm sure there was more, but this is what I can remember. I smoked it, and then it hits you so quickly. I'd say okay, so I'm with the shaman, and there's people all around me. Now I'm completely out on the DMT, like it hits you like instantly. And I could feel the presence of everyone around me, and it was kind of like we were all in this, I don't want to, it was kind of a dark place, but not negative dark, just dark as in there wasn't much light. And it was like really, I don't know, it was just a different place. I could feel that I was in a different place, but I could feel all of their presence with me. It was like they were all completely with me in my trip. I'm not sure if they saw what I saw, but it felt like they did. And then I think, so I was there, but you're not, so I'm like settled there for a minute, thinking this is kind of where I'm going to be, but then you just move. And I think I thought of a bird because I heard like a bird chirping because I was outside, I think. And I could like see the bird like in my head. And then like I like zoomed into the bird, and then the bird became like broken. It became like, circle, like patterns, like a circle that like broke off into more patterns. And then I went into that, and it became everything. And it was like the bird was everything and everything was everything. And I've talked about this, I think, kind of how everything is everything. Well, everything is kind of nothing, which is kind of everything. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, so it was just kind of like just everything. It was really cool, but it's like you're confronted with everything, and then you're just like, for me at least, it was just like, I know, like, I don't know, it was like I was being shown that everything was everything, and it was all in front of me, and it was like I already knew on like a like higher conscious level, but it was just like I like seeing it, it is a little overwhelming. But then, so I think this was after the bird thing, I'm not entirely sure, but I had this moment, and then suddenly it was just me and the shaman. And like, I'm not sure if the people were actually still there, but the shaman had gone this far with me, and I felt like he was actually in the place that I was, and it was just like, all I saw was just kind of like, I guess, like the sun or whatever, and it was just, just everything in front of me, but it was just pretty much nothing. And but then it was just like my aura, not my aura, but my entire, like my essence. It was like everything about me just like in front of me, and it was like really heavy, I felt like, and it was like actually like too much. Like it was just completely me, and I was like kind of disgusted by it. I just remember feeling like I was gonna like gag. I don't know, just like oh, like, and I felt like I was shaking maybe. I'm not sure what my body was doing, but I assumed that I was kind of like ugh. And I like told him, and I didn't actually tell him that like in real life, but in this year, in this place he was like completely with me, and I said, and it wasn't in language, but it was communicated. I said, do I have to do this? Like, do I have to go through this? And he said, yeah, but it was like he was with me, and it was like he was really supportive. So I think what happened was then I had to go through myself, that was completely presented to me. And I went through myself. And then I think that that's when I fell through the loop, and then falling through the loop is when I started to really remember things because, you know, the day I did it, that's all I could remember is that I fell through the loop and into the light. So I think that that's when I fell through the loop after going through myself. And at that point, I was able to go into the light. But, you know, he was doing like body work on me and all this other stuff. So the whole thing happened so fast. It's really hard to know the order of things because also time when you're on it doesn't feel linear, I guess. I don't know. It's like something could have happened before or during the same time or whatever, and it's really confusing. So, yeah. So I just thought it was cool that I like remembered that later, but like the revelation I got from that with the whole thing was being confronted with myself and like sorry, it's actually a little emotional, but yeah, being confronted with myself and being like almost like disgusted by it. It's not that and it's not that I don't like myself, but I guess I don't like myself enough and or I didn't. And I realized that because when I had that memory, like I also was like kind of dealing with things with my ex, you know, and I can go into that in another video. And I had worked through that on the ayahuasca, but then I came back and made the mistake of kind of hanging out with him. So and then I stopped, but I had this like revelation that the reason that when we were together that I let him do such terrible, like be so awful to me, um, and like kept going back for more was because I truly loved him more than I loved myself. And I had that revelation as I had that memory kind of being confronted with myself and being disgusted is that I don't like myself enough. And it's something that I think that I've really like worked through since then. I think doing ayahuasca helped me. I think doing that helped me and having that realization of like I shouldn't have felt disgusted by my essence, you know, by who I am, but there are obviously things about myself that I don't like. And it's heavy, you know. I mean, who we are is like kind of constructed based on like our environment and everything around us and just the things we've been through. So it's really hard to I guess it's really hard to be someone that you're gonna completely love in every sense because we always have to work on ourselves. But I, learning, at least from my relationships, like loving yourself has to be kind of the utmost priority, at least for me, in getting through this life. Because if you don't love yourself, and you love other people more than you love yourself, you're gonna let them hurt you. So, anyway, yeah, this whole experience has been like really life changing. Sorry, I'm a little emotional about it, but it was um, probably it was the most profound thing I've ever done, the bufo. I mean, and I'm lucky that I'm happy that I had done ayahuasca before that because I don't think I would have been able to surrender to it had I not done ayahuasca because the ayahuasca really made me, you know, learn to just let go and let things happen. And I think if I did it having not done the ayahuasca, I would have thought it, and I wouldn't have been able to go through myself and fallen through the loop and then fallen into the light and felt like the eternal love um, of everything. So I'm really happy I did that. I mean, I think everyone who does it, at least from what I saw of the people doing it in my group, because, you know, I got to watch everyone do it before I did it. I think everyone has that kind of barrier that they go through before they go through the best part of it. So, and that barrier could be anything. I don't know everyone's experience. I guess for me, that barrier was maybe was myself. So, but it really wasn't that much of a barrier. Like it wasn't that hard to go through it. I was just kind of like disgusted by it, I guess. So, but I had worked on myself so much prior to going that, had I not done all that work on myself, I think that I would have completely gotten in my own way and not been able to go through it and just well, maybe not terrible, but not had the best experience. So I do think that if this is something you want to do, that you have to be really ready to just completely surrender to the experience and completely let go of yourself and your expectations or whatever it is that you think might be getting in your way. You have to really work through it. Because also when I was on it, like when he was doing the body work and he pushed on the points, I knew the things that were coming up when he did it were not things that I anticipated like prior to going into this, but everything had to do with like I guess essentially traumatic experiences with men, and that was something that I had to confront head on. Or maybe not. I mean, but yeah, it was all about different men, from my father to my boyfriend to like other people, and so that was interesting. I don't think. I mean, that's obviously not going to be the case for everyone. We're all holding on to different things. Um, but yeah, it was a really beautiful and I don't want to say it was scary because I mean, I think the scariest part for me was the beginning. Just like knowing I was going to smoke it and not really knowing what was going to happen. That's the scariest part. Um, but I have heard of people, well, I've mostly heard of people having good experiences on it, but I think someone famous, I don't remember, who's into psychedelics did it and was pretty much like in hell the whole time. So I couldn't explain. So my idea on why that would happen to someone would be that they're not surrendering and that they have too many, inner demons or like issues with themselves or things that they're not ready to work through, that are in the way. And if those things are in the way, and you're not able or ready to go through them, you're just going to be confronted with them and you're going to be in hell. And that, I mean, I'm not certain that that's the case for everyone, but that's how I would perceive it based on having gone through what I've gone through on it. So anyway, that's it. My next video will actually be about my experience in Costa Rica. Thank you for watching. I've been like in my house for like a week because of this coronavirus, so it's really nice to be able to just talk about something else and think about something else. And so I actually want to get another video out this week since I really have a lot more time than I normally would. Sorry this has taken so long, but I'm actually kind of glad I waited so long to do this video because I've had so much time to reflect on that experience, and it's honestly like still so present. Like I still think about it a lot because it was just so profound. So I also want to do a video I want to do a video about Costa Rica and then about my experience coming back. And that'll be a little bit about obviously how I was affected by the 5-MeO, DMT, and the ayahuasca, and how that changed my perception and has helped me kind of in my life today. So, but I just want to talk about my experience since I've been back from Costa Rica in general, because, going there was like so life-changing. Then coming back, it's been a lot, honestly. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to putting out the next video. Bye!